My name is Andria Zafirakou. I'm a teacher. I've been teaching for 14 years in a school in Brent, and I've had the most extraordinary life. And I'd say the last extraordinary 18 months. And the reason why is because something very strange happened to me. I won an award called the Global Teacher Prize. And the reason why I won the award is not because I think I'm extraordinary, but I think it's because somebody did something that was very kind, and they nominated me. And as a result from that, from 30,000 applications from 175 countries, a London teacher, not just a London teacher, but an art teacher, won an incredible competition. And just that we, yeah, I think so. And just so that we can just put something in perspective, some of the colleagues, my colleagues who are in the top 10 who are behind me, you have Eddie, you may know him. He's a maths teacher, and his story was absolutely extraordinary. His students, one of his students was very poorly, very unwell, and they couldn't come to school. So what he did was he decided to video himself teaching. He'd post that onto YouTube. He called his channel WooTube. And as a result of that, that student was able to access the learning that was happening in the classroom. Genius. At the back there, you see a gentleman called Glenn Lee. Glenn Lee is a teacher in Hawaii. Glenn Lee and his team, his students, are robotics fanatics, and they win competitions. And the thing that's really fascinating about Glenn Lee and his students in school is that my school, in the ICT department, we do a case study on Glenn Lee. You have Cohen at the back, who is a pioneer for sustainability. You have Marjorie, who is a teacher in South Africa, who was such an advocate for ensuring that we stopped the horrible apartheid that was taking place in South Africa. These, my friends, are colleagues who I'm so inspired by and moved, and yet somehow an art teacher from Brent, London, won. And this is my world. I teach at a school called Alberton Community School. We have 1,700 children on roll, and being in Brent in London, it is the second most highest area of deprivation in the whole of the UK. So it's very multicultural, and it is beautiful. In my school, we have approximately 190 languages being spoken from our students. They come from such diverse backgrounds, and as you can imagine, there is very high level of poverty in our school. But what they do, they're really inspirational, and they really motivate us. And I've been teaching in my school since I was an NQT. That's 14 years ago, and I've managed to somehow become a senior leader. And the reason why, actually, it's quite unusual for a teacher to remain in a school for that amount of time. But the reason why I stayed at my school is quite simply, there's so much to be done. And I loved it. And I have to tell you something, guys, and I know you're just entering the profession. Teaching is a journey. You're going to make so many mistakes, thousands of mistakes. But I tell you what, you will be the most resilient people on the face of this earth. Teachers are resilient. We pick ourselves up. We get going because there's people out there who rely and depend on us. And just like you out there, you will change lives. I can guarantee you, you will change lives. And the reason I know that you will change lives is that the reason you have all applied to become teachers is that every single one of you in this arena was inspired and had a moment with a teacher where they changed your life. And what I'd like you to do now for me, please, is just think who that teacher was. Who was that teacher who said that thing to you and that changed the direction? Have you got that name in your head? Yeah? After 3, can we please share to each other who that teacher was? 1, 2, 3. Thank you. This always happens, and there's a lovely little giggle because that means that was a lovely reminiscence of who they were. And yes, they will change your lives. You are there to do that. But the beauty about where we are in our careers is that actually it's not about us. It's never about us anymore. It's about them. And what I'd like to do now is share you those stories of the students who changed my life. This, and as I've told you before, I'm an art teacher, so this work is my students' artwork. This is a story about a student of mine called Raf. Raf came to our school from a special educational needs school. He came when he was in year 10. And the idea was that his parents wanted him to adjust into a mainstream school. Raf suffered from absolutely every single special educational needs label you can think of. Dyslexia, dyspraxia, ADHD. And just to add that, he was selective mute as well, so he would not talk. One day, Raf came into my art lesson. And as a teacher at that point in my career, I didn't know how to prepare for this particular student. And that's another thing, guys. You are going to have to be able to cater for every single need in your class. But I wasn't able to do that. And I would say that this is the first time that in my career, I probably did not have high expectations, because I didn't have any expectations. Raf one day came to my art class, and my art homework for that day was, right guys, I'd like you to draw for me an object that's really inspirational, that you love. And I thought that I was going to get 3,000 pictures of PlayStations, some Xboxes, footballs, whatever. I went round to collect the homework, and I collect the homework from all the students. I went up to Raf and I said, Raf, can I have your homework? Eyes down, did not make any eye contact. Raf, can I please have your homework? Again, did not say anything. I said, okay, it's his first lesson, let's give him a break. At the end of the lesson, Raf came up and he put this piece of paper on my table. At that time, I was on the other end of the room, talking to another student. He turned around and he left. As he turned around and he left, I quickly ran to my desk, picked up the word, and I said, stop! The poor guy almost wet himself. He froze, staring at the door. I looked at the work, and oh my God, what did I see? I saw the most beautiful drawing of a bass guitar. The tone on there was superb. I wish I had it to show it to you, but it's somewhere lost in the world of the art room. But the tone on there, the line, it was beautiful. And you can tell that he's spent hours and hours on that. And I turned around and said, Raf, is this your work? And he said to me, that's it. And at that moment, I said, right, okay, right, Raf, right, okay. So here's a sketchbook, take the sketchbook, take these pencils, right, and this is what I want you to do. I want you to go away and draw anything that you want, the person who inspires you the most, anyone, go back and draw. The next week he came into my lesson, and lo and behold, he had a sketchbook full of work, and it was beautiful. He was drawing people like Michael Jackson, he was drawing people like Pele. These are people who inspired him. Raf sat his GCSE art 2 years later, and he got, at that time we were still with grades, alphabet grades, so he got a grade D, but he was 3 points away from a C. So when I met his parents, I was like, I'm really, really pleased. And then I looked at Raf and I was like, Raf, what do you think? Raf looked at me, goes to me, very, very, very sad ways, I'd say, just reflecting on that. He said to me, Miss, I'm 3 points away from a C. So I was like, okay, all right. So I went to my head teacher at the time, and my head teacher, God bless him, how he puts up with me, I do not know. But I went in there and I said, look, Mr. McKenna, we need to do something. This child, he's only been with us for 2 years and he's got a grade D. Can you imagine if he was to do A-levels art, we could possibly get him at least a grade D in A-level as well. The head teacher at that time, he looked at me and he just saw my energy and he saw my passion, and he goes to me, do you think we can do this? And I said, I think we can. He took a chance, he took a massive chance on us, and as a result, Raf got an A in his A-level art, and this is the work that he produced for his A-level. But not only that, with Raf, he doesn't bloody stop talking. He comes into the art room every single day. He brings his portfolio. He sits in the corner. He gets on with the work. He gets up and he goes and he helps in the other art rooms with the other teachers, supporting the year 7s, the year 8s. His work is displayed all over the wall. The kids look at him. He's able to communicate to them. He is their real, where's Haley gone? He is their real model. He is someone who they can aspire to. And Raf, at the moment, he's taken a year out, and next year he's thinking of applying to do gaming design, which I'm sure he will be absolutely incredible with. But there's those students who really make you think, I wish I'd known, or I wish I could see. This is my student. Her name is Khadija, and Khadija was one of those students who I'd say is a ghost. Our ghost children are those incredible young people who do everything right, who nod, hands up, if they put their hands up. Homework is always on time. It's immaculate, it's perfect, very, very highly skilled. But do not say anything else, they're invisible. It was a GCSE exam theme about 3 years ago, and this is her final piece for an art GCSE. Now, the problem is that this piece of work had absolutely no relation to the rest of her portfolio, the rest of her coursework. And so when we saw this piece of work, myself and the head of art, we were like, oh my God, what's just happened? There's no link. We need to go back and interview this child and say, why have they done this piece of work? But it's not what we planned. So we went to see her and we sat down and we're like, Khadija, your work is amazing, congratulations, it's brilliant, but your coursework, your folder, we can't link, there's no link. Can you please tell me what's this about? And then at that moment, you saw it. And this is what you guys have got to look out for. It's the little signs. Khadija started to pull down her sleeves. Body closed, language was closed. And what was she hiding? She was hiding the fact that she was self-harming. And when we found out more about her story, she was self-harming because in 2 months' time, she was going to be taken to a country in India, and from there she was going to be married, and she wasn't able to come back to the UK. And Khadija, all she wanted to do was to be a nurse. Thankfully, we found out, we were able to put systems in place. We contacted the family. Khadija now is not only a nurse, but she's graduated 2 years ago from Imperial College in London with a doctorate degree. Ladies and gentlemen, that is seriously the power of art. The reason why I'm so passionate about our subjects is that our subjects, they support the people who don't normally have a voice. They support the vulnerable students. It is the most inclusive subjects that we have, which is why we have to fight for them in our schools. And actually, I do quite a lot of advocating, but now it's down to you. This story here is a wonderful story of a student of ours who was a refugee, and this is quite recent. She came to us again in year 10, and she sat her GCSE exam, and this was her final piece. And I will never forget this. It was an incredible moment. Can you see right in the corner, there's a speech mark, a bubble mark, that's blank? Yeah? So while she was doing her work, I was walking around the room, in the classroom, the art room, and I was thinking to myself, oh, I wonder what she's going to put there. I wonder what's going to happen. So, half an hour left. Right, half an hour, guys, half an hour until your exam finishes. Make sure you finish everything. I went back. Bubble still empty. Went back. Bubble still empty. Time's up. The bubble was still empty. Khadija came to us from a refugee from a country, and I'll tell you what, her journey, if you ever found out what her journey was, you'd be on the floor crying. No other child should ever have to experience that. She was an accompanied minor. I don't really want to go there, but it's quite tragic to find out. So when I spoke to her, I said, why did you not tell us what was going in your head? What were you trying to say to us? What do you think came out of her mouth? Please go for shouts out. Any ideas? What would she put in those bubble areas? Any ideas? Beautiful. Actually, that is one of the answers, but thank you very much. That's exactly what she said. But miss, who's going to hear me? Who is going to hear me? Again, the power of the arts. We try and make sure that it's not just through the art room. We support textiles, we support drama. But I'm not sure if you heard, but did you know that I won $1 million? Yeah, believe it or not, who would give a teacher $1 million? So I won $1 million, and I'll never, this is, I think, you know when you have those moments in your life whereby something quite extraordinary happens and you make that decision. And this is my decision. When I won the trophy, when I won the award, I still couldn't believe I was there, and who would give a trophy to an art teacher? But I was invited to go to Downing Street, and I met Theresa May. And I met the Minister of Education, and it was a wonderful, really, really incredible thing. You know, my journey would be from school, home, school, home, school, home every single day. Now I was in Parliament, and I went to Downing Street. Oh my God, this is pretty unreal. And I was asked a question, to say, Andria, look, we're so proud of you. We're very proud of what you've achieved. We would like you to be the recruitment face for teachers. We would like you to help us with recruitment. And that was my moment. I stopped, I looked around me. There are all these very important people surrounding me. And then I had that 10% brave moment, and I said no. And then I was asked, why did you say no, Andria, why? And I just said quite simply, because I do not believe at this moment in time that this government supports the arts in education. And so I went home, and I remember was taken home, and I went open the door. And it's the first time I saw my husband after winning the award, and he saw me in tears. He's like, "What happened?" I was like, "We're going to get assassinated." I said no to the government, and then he turned around and he said to me, that's obvious, you're going to do that. That's you. But what are you going to do about it? And so this is what I've done about it. So I've received this $1 million, which again is, feels very uncomfortable to receive this. So I decided to put my money where my mouth is. And I set up a charity. Yes, I still teach, by the way, but I set up a charity called Artists in Residence, because I believe that our young people need to see the real models. They need to see artists, they need to work with artists to be inspired, because I'm really concerned that the arts are being squeezed further and further and further out of the curriculum. And by putting, that is Naughty Boy up there, by the way, he came. And by putting all these artists, getting them to work directly with schools, what you're seeing that children are really saying to their teachers, "Miss, I want to be an illustrator. Miss, is this real? Can you really be a creative designer for Revlon and that this is your job?" And I think this is what it's all about. We need to make sure that, yes, as teachers, we can deliver the curriculum, we can teach our subjects, but we need to be able to teach them about the careers. And I think this is what I think has been really beneficial, and we have done incredible work, and I'm happy to say that we are still continuing to really inspire and change lives. And it's those magic moments whereby a head teacher sends you an email and he says, "By the way, Andria, just to let you know that a parent has said to us that their child has become happier by working with that particular artist that you sent to in our school. Thank you." Now, when you hear that, you don't need percentages, you don't need assessments. For that is all it takes, because you are helping to change lives. And here's some of our artists who have signed up, and they're just like the most incredible, big-hearted people in the world. So, okay, I've been doing quite a lot of traveling as well, and I've managed to visit many countries. One of the countries that I've visited was New York, and as I was sitting in Heathrow airport lounge room space, business class, awesome, first time ever, amazing. I saw this magazine and I picked it up, and I don't know if anyone's seen it, but it's quite significant. This is a magazine and this article was documenting teachers in America. And these teachers had MAs, highly professional, highly skilled individuals, but they had 2 jobs. And this particular person here on the front cover, she was teaching English literature, but in the evenings and the weekends, she would have to go and sell blood. or donate blood, because that's how she was topping up her income. So during my visit to New York, I requested to go and see a school, and I managed to go to visit a school in the Bronx, the most incredible school I've ever been to. And yes, metal detectors, yes, that was something that I was blown away by. So I went into this particular school, and I said to a teacher, look, have you seen this magazine? And they're like, what is it? No, but I go, well, it's a magazine that says that in the article, teachers in the US have got 2 jobs. Is this right? She goes to me, come here. We went into the staff room, and there was a colleague of hers called Sandra. And then she goes to Sandra, I'm not even going to try doing it in an American accent, I'm going to fail. But she said to Sandra, just show Andrea what you got in your locker. Sandra got up, she went into her locker, got out a uniform, and she goes to me, what, you're talking about this? And then she goes to me, what do you reckon that is? And I go, I don't know, it's a uniform. She goes, when I finish school at 3:30, I'm going to go to a local restaurant where I'm a valet. So this woman parks cars, yeah? And this is what I think people don't get outside this incredible edu world. Teachers change lives, and we have got to support that. And it's not good enough that we are having to fight, still, borrow resources to raise the seeds, to help develop our students, to change our students' lives. So I think part of my role as being the global teacher is to make sure that I'm a positive advocate for the teaching profession, because it is the greatest profession. It's the scariest profession. You're going to make mistakes, but I guarantee you it is a wonderful profession. And this is my world here. These are my colleagues in my school. And I don't know, guys, when you go into your schools, you may have experiences whereby you think you don't fit in, you're not happy. If that's the case, eventually, then you need to leave. Because there are schools out there who are just right for you. And for my particular school, it's not about one person. We are all a team, and we all help to raise our students and make them who we are. And there's a brilliant saying that says that it takes a whole village to grow a child, and I think this is my village. Now, before I go on to my last slide, I just want to tell you something that's quite important. Yes, you guys change lives in a very positive way, but please don't forget that sometimes it's the negative words that will have the biggest effect on our young people. Sometimes it's the negative things that teachers say to us that stay in with us, and that could have a huge consequence. So just be careful of your language. And the other thing I'd like to point out at this point also is Sunday nights. Have you guys experienced the no sleeping on a Sunday night yet? That's a teacher thing, and you'll have it all your life. So sometimes on the Sunday nights you'll find it very, very difficult. But oh my God, it is very important that you connect with people. And I think it was Moshe has said that you need to make sure that you connect with your peers. Get on Twitter, get into the edu world, start communicating, join all the forums, the teaching forums, start learning. We learn better from other practitioners. And these are the people that are going to support us through our lives. My last student I want to share with you, because I know I talk too much, and very soon I'm going to be told to get off the stage. But again, another student who changed my life, and I still teach her, so it's extraordinary to have this young person still with us. This is Prakruti. Prakruti came to Alperton School when she was in year 8. She came from a country called Diu, and Diu is a tiny, tiny, tiny island off of India. When you are pregnant and you are near the vicinity of the island, you go to the island, you have your baby, and that means that you're able to apply for a Portuguese passport, which enables you to come into the UK. So in my school, in my community, we have got a huge population from the island of Diu. Unfortunately, in Diu, it's difficult to find yourself going to a good school. So Prakruti was, I wouldn't even say homeschooled. She spent most of the time working and supporting her parents in the fields with crops. And I think the only time she ever got into a school was when she came through the doors in Alperton Community School. And I will never forget her face. When she came into my art lesson, she wore her uniform and she looked down and she was so out of place. She was scared, vulnerable, could not speak any English. Luckily, we buddied her up with another student who was able to speak Gujarati. And she came into the art room, she sat down there quiet, and as I was teaching the classroom, at the end of the lesson, I set her homework. Can you please make sure that you draw somebody who inspires you, your role model? And hoping or assuming I was going to get, Massey's and Beyonce's and Stormzy's, pictures of them, because we were doing portrait program. Anyway, so at the end of the lesson, Prakruti and her friend came up and they said to me, "Miss, can we borrow some materials, please?" So absolutely. I had lots of old sketchbooks there. Art teachers, we recycle like no one's business. We're the best recycling people in the whole world. So we're always recycling work, and I managed to pull out some work from a sketchbook. I gave her a packet of used oil pastels, which cost me 99p from the pound shop. Gave them to her, and I said, "You've got a week, no rush, come back when you're ready." Again, I did not have high expectations. My friends, the next day, this 12-year-old found me. She was standing outside my art room. She was waiting by herself, and she had this precious object in her hand, which was this piece of work that you see on the board. A 12-year-old. And it was her work because you could see on her hand the residue of the oil pastel. And I would say she probably spent 4 hours doing this. So I don't know how long she slept, but she did this at night and brought it in straight away to show me, her teacher. And when I saw this, I screamed. I was like, "Oh my God, is this you? Is this you? Did you do this?" And I think I terrified the poor thing because she ran out the classroom. I then chased after her and I said, no, please come back, please come back. She came back into my classroom and I was smiling. I was like, and I think she got the fact that her crazy art teacher was saying that this is incredible. So I gave her a book, I gave her more equipment, put it in one of those little kind of zippy plastic folders that we give to our students, gave them back to her. And what happened then was that she just flourished. Every day she was just churning out work and she was getting magazines and just copying, but drawing what she thought was magazine. Prakruti came to the UK with not knowing absolutely any English whatsoever. She couldn't access the curriculum apart from subjects such as art and sports. Prakruti got 9s for every single subject last year. She aced it. She's the top 4% of children in the whole of the country. And we're talking about triple science, double maths, further maths, stats. Absolutely every GCSE she got the grade 9 for. And she's doing her ASs this year. And what is she studying? Because she's quite a geek, she's studying maths, further maths, economics, and art. And when you say to her, "Prakruti, what do you want to be? What is it you want to do?" And she'll say to you in the most brilliant Cockney Gujarati accent, "Miss, I don't know, right, but I'm telling you something. I know that I want to definitely do something with the arts, but Miss, do you know what? It's like I'm really good at maths too, but I'm just confused. I don't know what to do." And she's awesome. But all you know is that this child, the world is an oyster. The world is out there. And the reason why she did that, the reason why she got this, is that she found that subject. She found the subject which opened the doors to communication. She found the subject which made her feel worthy, which made her feel valued. She found the subject that made her say, "This is me." And that's our job, guys. That's why we are here in this room. That's why we're going to be going into the schools, to make sure that our children feel valued, our children are heard, that we are there to support them, that we will smile at them. Even if it's before Christmas, we will smile. And we will build those relationships, because at the end of the day, sometimes we are absolutely everything they have. What happens at home sometimes is a mystery, but what we can do in school is make sure that we can change their lives. And my last message to you is thank you. I have had the privilege and the pleasure of having so many of my students coming back to me after this 18 months since winning the prize to say to me, Miss, because of you, can you remember when you said that to me, Miss? Miss, can you remember when you, Miss, man, because of you I'm doing this, because of you I'm doing this. We are changing lives, and that's what makes a massive difference. And I can tell you this, you are going to be having those days every single day. You may not hear it, you may not feel appreciated, you may not be ever told, well done, that's great. But trust me, it's happening. And thank you for joining what is the greatest profession on this earth. Thank you very much, everyone.